Hey there, this is Nick. We have been staging at our church, Spring Glen Church in Hamden, a production of John Bishop's play, The Musical Comedy Murders of 1940. And we've received so many remarks about the set and, questions about how we built it and so on, that I thought I'd make a video here. And maybe it'll help somebody else who's staging this play. Maybe it'll help somebody who's trying to do something similar with some of the set. In any case, I'll kind of walk you through some of the features. Basically, the main thing that the first thing that people comment on are the books, the bookshelves. There are multiple bookshelves in this bookcases in this play, and they are supposed to open and so on in various ways. We'll get to that shortly. But the main thing is they need to look like bookcases. So obviously you can't have real books. It would be way too heavy and a pain in the neck to do. So what we did was, I'm lucky enough to work for the printing department at Yale University, and I basically found on the internet photos of book spines, and I manipulated them in Photoshop. There's not that many here. It looks like there are a lot of different ones. In fact, there's just a few images. What I did was in Photoshop, I flipped the images. I played with the colors for different ones. So it looks like there are a lot more books than there actually are. But basically, those are printed out on large sheets of paper. And then I got cardboard, just corrugated card. You can kind of see there, I hope, that the printouts of the books are then, I sprayed spray mount on the back of them and mounted them onto card and just sort of cut out the top of the card so that it looks like you got the shape of the books. And that works really well. These bookshelves are, 3 to 4 inches deep. In order to get the depth there, what I did was I actually took duct tape. I don't know if there's anywhere we can actually see that. No, not really. I just basically mounted them there with duct tape, with just a couple of inches of space behind them, so it gives a little impression of depth. One thing that we found in the rehearsing for the play was that it was quite nice for characters, or we thought it would be nice for characters to be able to kind of wander around if they're not in the center of the main focus of the scene, and pick a book off a shelf and read it. And of course you can't do that with the printouts. So some of these bookshelves aren't a single piece. I cut it up into several segments, and these are mounted kind of slightly at an angle there. You can sort of see that this one goes back somewhat, this one goes back, and basically you end up with little spaces. And so we got some thin books, not too large, that could then be just slid in here. So, if an actor is coming up and they want to act like they're just browsing a book, they just pull something out and they flip through it and then they put it back when they're done. And that worked out very nicely. So those are the books. Then the next challenge was how to actually make the bookcases work. According to the script, there should be one bookcase that hinges, one that slides open, and one that rotates. And, that's a challenge for a small theater group like ours. But we're very fortunate to have an engineer who's involved in the theater. His name is Dave Giblin. And, the director said, well, they could all just hinge, if it was too hard to make them slide and rotate and so on. But Dave rose to the challenge, and we have 3 different opening bookcases here. So here's the first one. This is just the simple hinge. That kind of pushes back there. And it is just hinges along the right-hand side of that bookcase there. The way we made them move smoothly is, and it's the same in each case of these. I'll come around the back here so we can see. There are casters on the bottom, so that supports the weight of the bookcase. Here are the hinges on the side, and it works very nicely.
Observation. Observation. That's the key. And And if I'm right, someone is a very great reader. And I...
The backs basically are just stage flats. We made these kind of 3 to 4 inch thick wooden frames and just screwed those onto the flats to make the actual bookcases. Here is the next bookcase. This is the sliding bookcase, and that works like this. And when it is open, Karen Giblin, who was doing a lot of the set painting, painted this nice sort of stone type inside for this area. This is what it looks like when it is open. And again, we'll go in, we'll take a look around the back so you can see how it's done. Dave mounted a piece of a metal rod along here. It's lubricated, it's greased. And here at the top of these flats, again, it's just flats with the bookcase attached to the front, there are eye bolts, or eye screws, I guess. And those are attached to the top of the bookcase, and those slide along the pole. Down at the bottom, we have, I have to close the bookcase a little bit so that we can see this. You guessed it, casters underneath. And there's some pieces of wood at the bottom just to kind of keep it in line. And it's, you know, a little bit heavy, but you can open it with one hand, so it's not bad. Looks very effective. We usually have, somebody will be behind there, and the bookcase is sort of supposedly controlled by flipping a pen on the desk, and we have someone hidden in behind who opens it and closes it when that happens.
5 rooms in this joint with a slasher could hide. And then don't count the closets.
My gosh!
Oh, what?
It's a secret passage!
Oh, let's get out of here.
Let's go take a look.
The final bookcase is this one right here. And this was the real challenge. And this is the rotating bookcase. Again, the back of this painted with like a stone pattern. So that makes it very obvious from the audience. When that bookcase opens, they really can see it very easily. You can see in the back the casters on the bottom. These are all, in each case, they're hidden by pieces of wood, just kind of across the front. But you can see them from the back. And this is just a piece of metal pipe from Home Depot. And what Dave did is he used these little, I don't even know what brackets, I guess, that go around there. They're free to slide on there, so the whole thing can rotate around that pole. Down at the bottom, it is set in a socket like that, and there is a similar one at the top. And that's basically what it is. It's this one, I believe, he didn't use a flat. He built this one from scratch, and I believe that he used cardboard for the back of it to make it extra light. So that's really quite easy to rotate. I can do that just with one hand.
I'm for help.
Hey, he asked if we're gonna meet a fish, huh?
Where'd they go?
To the wall.
So those are the bookcases. Another thing that we did, we were fortunate enough, there are various points in the play where there are radio announcements. And again, this is set in 1940. So we needed an old radio, and we found this. And we were very lucky that this wonderful museum in Windsor Locks, Connecticut, the Vintage Radio and Communications Museum, was clearing inventory out of their warehouses. They were overstocked. So they actually wanted to get rid of some old radios that didn't work. And we got this one. I made a small donation as a thank you for them giving it to us. But this is a 1939 True Tone radio. Doesn't work, as I said, but what we did around the back is we have an amplifier here and a speaker. And if I turn this on for a sec, that also gives power. Even though this radio doesn't work, it does, don't know if you can see that, it does light up. So we can, the actors can turn it on and off there. And the amplifier behind is wired up to our gallery up above there. And we have a laptop up there running Ableton Live, which is a wonderful program for triggering sounds. And they can basically trigger all of those sound effects of the radio from up there.
Play the radio very loud, and that way we can always find this room.
Oh, hey, you hit the red note from NBC. Will's Patoli is all girl orchestra's on right now.
Move carefully, it's a labyrinth in there. Stay close together. Oh, Roger, anything but that.
There's also a piano. People sing around the piano at various points. Here's the piano. The piano player can't actually play piano, so this is very low tech. And behind here, just a little guitar amplifier, and again, that's wired up to the loft. So he plays the piano right through that speaker.
Everyone can do it better, from the East Coast to the West. They don't know what's really best for the USA.
Another thing for this play is that there are some quite interesting props. There are a lot of guns in this play. And I found when I tried to order some replica guns online, you can't do that if you live in Connecticut because they won't ship to Connecticut. I found out later, actually, that if you are a theater group, there is a waiver for that, but I didn't know at the time. So one thing that I do is I do 3D printing, and the website Thingiverse, you can download patterns or ready-made designs to 3D print. So I 3D printed several guns and painted them, stuck them together. Usually they print in several pieces. Those are two. Here we have, this one's a little cartoonish looking, but that's a little Derringer that we have. And somewhere there is a fourth one, which is just a kind of a standard automatic type of thing. It's a little smaller, so it'll fit in a lady's purse. But those are all 3D printed. So I say for those ones, I did just download the pattern from Thingiverse. I didn't, I didn't kind of design it or anything like that. But another thing that we needed for this production, if we'll take a shortcut through the bookcase here into the back. This is our props room. We didn't have any storm lanterns, so I did decide to basically build those, 3D print those, and there was no pattern that I could find. So I came up with one. Basically, there are multiple pieces to this, but you can probably tell it's a Bon Maman jam jar. And I kind of measured that and made a piece that would fit on top. These two side pieces are printed separately, and just they snap into place there. This is a piece of coat hanger on the top. Here's the base of it, also 3D printed, and the lid of the jam jar just fits tight in there. And then we have, some of these little candles from Amazon. They're just battery-powered candles like that. And so when you put that in there and you fasten this on, it all snaps into place, and you have a storm lantern, and they look quite convincing from a distance. So that was another thing that the 3D printer was good for. By the way, if anyone's curious about that, the programs that I used Google SketchUp for the actual design, and then I use Ultimaker Cura, which is what you run the design through before you can actually send it to the printer. So that is that. I think that is everything that I wanted to cover here. I hope you found this interesting and or useful. And if you put on the production of this play, it's been incredibly popular. We've had a couple of performances. The last one is tonight, and people have loved it. So if you put on a performance, good for you. Break a leg.